I want to help the white person understand Black Lives Matter for dummies, okay? I want you to think about sheep in a pen. You have a mixture of white and black sheep. They're all safe. But there's one black sheep that's out of the pen. Somehow it got out. And that sheep is not safe. It is in harm's way. In my thumbnail, I happen to use a wolf. It could be anything. But in this society that we're in, it's the white man that's the wolf. That life matters because it's in danger. But what do you see? The white sheep in this country, the MAGA, what about me? All lives matter. White lives matter. Of course they do. Of course all lives matter. But you're safe. You're not in harm's way. You're not getting racially profiled. Your house isn't being redlined. You're not being called the N-word. You're not having to give the talk to your kids to what to expect when a white cop at some point pulls you over. Your son wasn't a Ahmaud Arbery that was chased down by 3 white guys and shot. Your great-grandparents weren't a will. But your little puny little concepts of brains can't imagine a situation where the world doesn't revolve around your caucasity. Instead of focusing on the atrocity of what happened to George Floyd and metaphorically how the white man has put his knee on the black man since the inception of this country, you don't care about that. You didn't protest. You stood by in your privilege and found a way to be the victim. So what you did was you ignored the 93% of peaceful protests. Millions of people in this country stood up and said, this is enough. But not you. You had to be the victim. Ooh, look at the summer of love, the 7%. Yeah, and a lot of those were white people that caused it to be agitators because you want the focus to be on you. Right? How many people get triggered by Black History Month? Why in the hell would you get triggered by Black history? See, because you don't know history, or if you did, you don't care. Did you know that 1.2 million African Americans died in the Middle Passage? That the bull sharks followed the slave boats over and actually ate the bodies? Did you know that? No, you didn't, right? Because that would offend your whiteness. Did you know that black people were put in vats of sugar and then when they didn't listen, they got whipped in addition to that? Thousands of them were put in trees while white people went to church? Did you know about that? But you don't care. That's the problem. The only piece of history you care about is the Second Amendment. You don't care about the 3/5 clause or that this country was designed for white people or that black people weren't even citizens in the 1860s when the Supreme Court ruled. See, that's the problem. You don't want to actually see history, which is why the plantation owner, the Orange Clan leader, the convicted felon, by the way, because you care so much about law and order, took away black history out of the Smithsonian. Why? Because your white feelings are being hurt by actual history. Why do you think they took out CRT and DEI and you worship a racist podcaster? He was a shitty human being, okay? He was. He asked for the execution of Joe Biden. He said Kamala Harris wasn't black. He said she was the black Hillary, that black people are taking white jobs, the great white replacement theory. He was a shitty human being. Over 40,000 people die every year from gun violence. They all had fucking families. So spare me your white bullshit. But they cherry picked that one because why? Because it allowed them to be the white victim. Did you see them up in arms about Ahmaud Arbery being chased by 3 white guys? No. Why? Because they want to say that white lives matter. And that's really what it's about. They're triggered by Hispanic History Month and Asian History Month. They want it to be about them. That's why they're triggered by Black History Month. It's not because it's black history. It should be American history. It's because it doesn't allow them to be some kind of wannabe alpha, beta, toxic masculinity where he's a patriot with flags and guns and singing God Bless America and having dumbass UFC fights where they're all punching each other because I need to be a real man because that's their version of American exceptionalism. That's what this is really about. And until we come to grips with that, it's not going to matter if a Democrat or Republican is in the White House or in the Congress or the Senate, because that's what's really wrong with this country. Look at the cities, the mayors. Black, primarily. Racial profiling, people that aren't white. Stephen Miller's basically a Nazi. Says he wants 100 million people in this country, white. That's what Black Lives Matter means. And until more people that look like me say this, then we're never going to be a great country. And for those of you that still think that this was a great country, for who? What year? Huh? The Middle Passage? The Trail of Tears? Wounded Knee? Lynchings? 1,800 Asian Americans died in internment camps. Women couldn't have the right to do with their bodies, couldn't have credit, couldn't vote. This country's never been great for everybody except the white man. But even hearing that, your little puny pea brains, your concepts of brains, are breaking down because you've been indoctrinated by this country to say that it's the best of the best of the best of the best. And it hasn't been, except for one demographic, mine. Black Lives Matter. And if you don't like it, you can ship your ass back to England where you came from.
White people really looked at 400 years of oppression and said, but what about me? You know what's wild, family? When your house is on fire, the fire department doesn't show up and start watering your neighbor's perfectly fine lawn. But that's exactly what all lives matter does. While black folks are literally dying in the streets, choking under knees, running from vigilantes, getting redlined out of generational wealth, white America clutches its pearls and screams, what about us? Brother, you are the fire department. And you're standing there with the house watching us burn, asking why we're making so much noise about the smoke. See, this is not about guilt. I'm talking about a system so well designed that even its beneficiaries can't see the blueprint. And that invisibility, that's the whole point. So guys, I want you to buckle up because today we are going to burn down that All Lives Matter playbook, and some of you all ain't gonna like it. I got a couple of clips here. I want you to watch them at the very end, and then I'll be back to discuss everything with you guys.
Nobody's going to save you from your racism. For you white people that are still wanting to find common ground and think that the libtards are going to save you, no. You're going to suffer the consequences of your racism alone. You just want to lead because you think that you're an alpha male. You're not. You just want to run your mouth. So if you really want to change, this is what I'm going to recommend. Shut your mouth and listen for once in your lives. Stop running your mouth about the libs and Antifa and 1776 and guns. If you truly want to grow, go follow the 92%. If you're serious about it, if your little pea brains can handle it, because you're about to jump into the deep end of the pool. You're eating checkers and they're playing chess. You go follow and listen to Black Woman. You're going to be shocked by how dumb you really are. You think you're an alpha male? Nah. You're still peeling off the skin of the onion. They're down in the core. You want to go follow some of them, and then we'll have this conversation in a few months? That's how you'll change. But I don't think you have the audacity to shut your mouth. But we'll see. If you really want to change, maybe for once, you should follow and listen instead of pretending to be a leader. That's the only way you're truly going to change. And then let's come back in a few months and have this conversation to see if you've actually changed. One of the reasons I started making videos was to address white supremacy. I want you to watch this 2-minute clip. It's important. When he's asked if this is a racist country, listen to his reaction, and then let's talk about it.
But a question that I never see mainstream white political figures ask: do you think America's a racist country?
That's a tough one. I mean, it's a loaded question in this respect. It's an easy question, right? From your perspective, from many people's perspectives. And it should be an easy question to answer. Racism persists in extraordinary ways. Institutionally, it's certainly enshrined in so many ways, and we've been trying to unpack that in deeply meaningful ways. And we're constantly dealing and battling with racism on a daily basis. And we're seeing the assault and the weaponization of race as it relates to all these anti-woke and DEI efforts coming in the Trump administration. So yes, there are deeply racist things that are going on all across the United States of America. Do I think fundamentally in our core, and that's why it goes to a more loaded and difficult question, I think the vast, overwhelming majority of people don't believe that they're racist, and don't honestly believe that this is a racist country. And And that's challenging, and how we can communicate more situational awareness.
But the reason why it's important is because we know that it is, right? Like, we know that it is. We know that the foundation of the country was racism in America is older than America. Like, my ancestors were enslaved here before the English expatriates here decided to start their own country. And our utility in America has never, ever, ever been about our genius, about our perseverance, about our ability to achieve in the country. We've done all of that in spite of an effort on the soil where we exist to minimize us and kill us. And it seems as if we can't quite reconcile that if we don't agree that is a thing.
This is what I've been saying. The interviewer is completely right. There's too many white men in this country that don't want to have this conversation. And I'll be damned if this is the hill that I'm going to die on. If this is the purpose that I'm given in this life by God, then so be it. It doesn't matter who wins, Newsom. You are gaslighting people. You're not a stupid guy. You're not stupid. You know exactly what you're doing. You're playing political theater because you want to be president. But you're unwilling to deal with the root cause in this country, which is white supremacy. The 3/5 clause, the Trail of Tears, the Middle Passage, Jim Crow, Black Wall Street, Asian internment camps. Everybody that doesn't look like us has been shit on. And you don't even have the balls to say it because you want to win an election in a couple of years. Great. Let's say you win. Then what? Racism is still here because you decided to push it under the rug. And that's exactly why we're here as a country. This is our sin as a nation of pushing the lost cause under the carpet. We let these losers that got their asses kicked worship Robert E. Lee, a racist piece of shit, may he rot in hell, because he wanted to own black people. And we said, come on back, whatever, no consequences here. And we just let it go. And we had the perception that we were making progress since the civil rights movement. But all we did was push it back. We suppressed it. We pushed it behind a dam. And then they found their Klan leader. He wears orange makeup and diapers, who cheats on his wife, who's a rapist and a convicted felon. But he's the right type of white man because he says the racist stuff out loud. And he opened up the floodgates on the dam, and all that racism, it all flooded out. That's exactly what this is. Stephen Miller wants 100 million white people. The rapist in chief, right? Very fine people on both sides. Nick Fuentes, the white supremacist in his house. Is Barack Obama, was he born here? Asking for the execution of the Central Park Five, not writing to black people. What do you have? The racist podcaster. Oh, Harris is Black Hillary. She's not black. Oh, the blacks are taking white jobs. Black people aren't smart enough. He's a racist piece of shit too. That's what the DEI, CRT, taking away slavery in the Smithsonian. This isn't rocket science, people. Almost all of the major cities going after are black. When they're doing the ICE raids in Chicago, what is it? It's not white people that are being woken up at 2 a.m. by Black Hawk helicopters and snatched out of their beds naked. No, it's non-white people. LA, guess what? Racially profiling who? Non-white people. That's what this is. That's what it's always been. That's how this country was designed. And we still are refusing to admit it. Mainstream media, left, right wing, they're all doing it because they want you to be angry at each other and yell and scream and rage bait. That's what get likes and views. That's exactly what Newsom's doing. I don't like Newsom at all. He went to the French Laundry while we were in a COVID shutdown and had dinner with his rich, snobby-ass friends. When Xi Jinping came over here, you know what he did? He told all the homeless people to get off the streets so he can make a photo op. Did he fix the homeless problem? No. Screw you, Newsom. You want to be a leader? Fix the damn problem. Don't do it for a video thing. And then what do? You want to go more to the right. So you have Steve Bannon, a convicted felon. Hey, bro, what's up, bro? Hey, man, what's going on, man? Good to see you. Yeah, I know you voted for a rapist, but hey, come on here. Let's find common ground. You are nothing more than a cosplay politician. That's all you are. With your fancy smile and your nice cemented hair, whatever the fuck you got in your hair, God only knows. You're what's wrong with this country. You still can't admit why we're here. It's white supremacy, Newsom. Why don't you grow a sack and actually say that? And then let's have a conversation.
Welcome back, and I want to tell you a story about a sheep. Yeah, so stay with me. Imagine a pen full of sheep. Now, most of these sheep are safe. They've got food, water, shelter, and the whole setup. But there is this one corner of the pen where wolves keep getting in. Every night, wolves and the sheep in that corner, they're terrified. They're dying. They are crying out, help us. The wolves are killing us. Now, what would you think if the safe sheep, the ones nowhere near the wolves, started bleating back? All sheep matter. Why are you only talking about your corner? What about us? You'd call those sheep delusional, right? Selfish, willful, ignorant. Welcome to All Lives Matter. I want us to talk about something straight right now. America was built on racism, not around it, not despite it. On it, this country's foundation, its literal constitutional DNA, was designed to elevate white people and brutalize everyone else. The Middle Passage, 1.2 million African ancestors dead before they even touched American soil. Full, like bull sharks following slave ships because they knew there would be bodies. Black people whipped in vats of sugar. Thousands hung from trees while white families went to Sunday service. The 3/5 clause, the Jim Crow, the Trail of Tears, wounded me. Japanese internment camps where 1800 Asian Americans died, lynching as public entertainment. This is not about ancient history, family. Some people lived through it. Maybe your grandfather participated in it. Maybe your grandfather lived in it too. And here's the kicker. After the Civil War, instead of holding the Confederacy accountable, America let them worship Robert E. Lee, a man who literally fought to keep black people enslaved like he was some kind of a noble hero. We put the sin under the carpet and call it heritage. So when black people say the system is racist, they're not talking about individual feelings. They're talking about the recipe. And if you keep using the same racist recipe, you could keep getting the same racist results. All Lives Matter is a distraction tactic. When Black Lives Matter emerged after George Floyd was murdered on camera for 9 minutes and 29 seconds, millions of people took to the streets, not to burn down cities, not to loot, but to say, enough is enough. Treat us like human beings. And 3% of those protests were peaceful, but you know what white America focused on? The 7% with agitators, many of whom were white themselves. By the way, they ignored the message and fixated on the method. And then came All Lives Matter. And that is what that slogan really means. Stop talking about your pain because it makes me uncomfortable. It's not about caring for people. If it were, where were these All Lives Matter folks when Ahmaud Arbery was hunted down and shot by 3 white men? Where were they during the housing redlining that destroyed generational black wealth? Where were they when black parents had to give their kids the talk not about the birds and the bees but about how to survive a traffic stop? All Lives Matter doesn't show up for justice. It shows up to silence. White supremacy thrives on white victimhood. And here's the psychological trick. White supremacy has conditioned white people to believe they're always under attack, even when they hold all the cards. You've got a system that was literally designed for you. You're not getting profiled. You're not getting redlined. You're not watching your people die on camera when the killer goes home to his family freely. But somehow, when black people say Black Lives Matter, you hear white lives don't. That's not what we said. That's what your programming told you to hear. And that programming, it comes from the top. Political leaders who weaponize the great replacement theory. Figures like Stephen Miller openly saying that they want 100 million white people in America. Podcasters calling for executions, claiming black people are taking white jobs, questioning Kamala Harris' blackness. And I'm not talking about no whistles anymore. This is a bullhorn, and it's working because racism that was suppressed under the civil rights movement has been given permission to flood back out. Let us talk about the assault on truth itself. Now, we're seeing the next phase, the war in education. They are removing critical race theory from schools, not because it's being taught, it's graduate level legal framework, but because it gives language to system racism. Like you get cutting the narrative, they're erasing black history from the Smithsonian. Why? Because white feelings are getting hurt by actual history. Think about that. We are being told we can't teach the truth about America because it makes white people uncomfortable. That's not education, that's indoctrination. And it's the same indoctrination that's been happening since the beginning. America is the best. We are exceptional. We are the good guys. Even if they attack people, they're the good guys. But America has never been great for everybody, just for the white man. And confronting the truth requires white people to do something they've been conditioned to avoid. Sit down, shut up, and listen. As someone who exists in the African diaspora, I see this scam from every angle. We're not just fighting American racism. We are fighting a global white supremacy system that colonized, enslaved, and brutalized our people across the continents. And here's what kills me. There are white people who know this. They've seen the receipts. They understand the history. But they can't speak up because their families, their communities will exile them. That's how deep this runs. I've watched white people get ostracized for saying Black Lives Matter. I've seen them lose family members for calling out racism at Thanksgiving dinner. And the social pressure, that's the immune system of white supremacy. Supremacy at work. It punishes defectors. But here's what I tell them. If you know the path you are on leads to destruction, change your mind, have a backbone, develop your own mindset instead of letting political leaders make you adapt to their thinking. Because right now, you're fighting a war that is not even yours. You're defending billionaires who don't give a damn about you while we're just trying not to die in the streets. Let me bring this home. Every time a black person gets killed, it goes viral. We relive the trauma. We watch the video, we see the comments, we read. He should have complied. Text, we watch the mental gymnastics. People do to justify why a human being deserved to die. And then we watch white people make it about themselves. So, you know how exhausting that is. You know what it does to our mental health. To constantly have to prove our humanity. We don't want revenge. We don't want supremacy. We want equality. We want the safety you take for granted. We want to exist without a knee on our necks, literally and metaphorically. But the system won't allow it because if black people are truly free, if we truly have the same opportunities, the same safety, the same wealth building mechanisms as white people, then the hierarchy collapses and white supremacy cannot survive on equality. So, what do we do? For my black and diaspora family, keep speaking, keep protesting, keep demanding. Our ancestors survived the Middle Passage, slavery, Jim Crow, and everything since. We're still here. And we're not going anywhere. For white allies, the white allies, this is your work to do. Stop censoring yourself. Stop the not all white people nonsense. If you truly believe in justice, get out and publicly support us. Not in the comment sections, not in private, out there where it costs you something. Yes, challenge your family, challenge your friends, challenge the systems you benefit from. And most importantly, listen to black women. They have been leading this fight for centuries. Follow them. And for everyone, understand that this is not about guilt. This is about accountability. This is about changing the recipe. Because until we dismantle white supremacy at its root, in the laws, in the institutions, the social conditioning, we're just putting band-aids on bullet wounds. The house is still on fire and all lives matter is still standing there with the host, asking why we're complaining about the heat. If this made you uncomfortable, that's good. Discomfort is where growth begins. But if this made you angry, ask yourself why. Is it because I'm wrong, or is it because I'm right and the truth that threatens the comfort you've been taught to protect at all costs? Drop a comment down below. Tell me where you stand, and if this resonated, share it, because the conversations that make us uncomfortable are the ones we need to have the most. Guys, I'm Tariq, and I'll see you in the next one.